series of interviews a year ago,
Yeah.
which has taken me a year to edit this shit because I'm basic AF. Thank you so much, appreciate it.
Everyone's hard.
And then having like a whole different, having a totally mind-blowing experience with AI right now.
Okay.
And actually, the thing that I've just got really interested in the AI and consciousness piece. It feels like the whole direction to talk about. But I've started to talk about this online, and I'm going to read you a message that I got from someone. I think it'd be really cool to talk about the music piece and all the AI piece and just like current and your brain and different values.
I'm down.
You're down? Okay, cool. So I started getting involved with, so I started talking about the AI stuff, and I've had a few people be like, that. And one message I got yesterday said, I think the issue with AI in music or any sort of artistic expression isn't that it helps inspire people. It's those who end up benefiting from the countless sloppy tunes they create. Even if not sloppy. Not one artist I know has done their work for money, but each one of them has struggled with their music being seen or noticed. I think the younger generations who come into this world without the pre-AI era or pre-digital are being set up to fail. So anyway, I thought like, I love what you're building, obviously. And I think touching upon like what's inspiring the whole unreleased piece and what do you see as broken with the music industry right now? Hi, by the way.
Yeah,
Thanks.
well, no, for sure. Well, like you just said something, or the girl just said something that makes me want to think of like a counter to what she's saying, which is like, she's basically saying that AI or just using that tool to make any sort of art form is unfair because it's already hard enough to get like success from music anyways. That adding, I guess, a tool that can help you do it really easily feels unfair if that becomes really big.
Yeah.
Right? Where what I would I think what I've observed is that they're two different skill sets. And having something become massive in the market is a skill set, and making really potent art is another. And they're very rarely married, if that makes sense. So like to this girl, like if a person is to go make a song on AI but has the wherewithal to put together a cohesive way to have people talk about it and connect to it, then they kind of exercise that other skill set that a lot of artists or musicians can't tap into. So that's the beauty of the game, is like you can forever unfold and evolve and learn and grow. And I think where we get lost is with the definition of the success coming from a certain amount of streams or whatever, or a certain amount of money, I guess.
What I've really, so I've known you for the last like, few months. When did we do that was December, I think, when we stood next to you at the Christmas market.
Oh, yep.
And
That's
what
right.
I've observed in who you are and the way that you operate is this such an appreciation for play and life and creativity. And I think it's such a rarity. And it's really inspiring in the way that you create. And I swear there's like 5 hobbies, because the amount of like creative output that you do is wild to me. And I guess the question that I have is like, how have you framed... You actually said something to me the other day, which was, you know, when you start focusing on the money, you just focus on the creative play. What's your philosophy around that? And then the money comes in. What's kind of your philosophy and how's that played out for you?
Well, I feel like all I truly know is based off of experimenting with my own life and what I've seen maybe work or not work, or maybe it's even been, I don't know. I guess the best way that I ever learn is to observe and kind of like try to like feel the essence of whatever it is I'm trying to learn. So if I was to observe, so your question one more time, like
how you have this lightness with your creativity, and it's almost like this. It's not that the money in the business doesn't matter,
Money, yeah.
but it's almost like you've created such a
Okay,
playfulness around
you just remind me of what I was gonna say. So if you observe the people that get paid the most in the world, it's usually, or even just on a set or on any project, it's usually the one that is playing the most. So think of like you could think of anything, like the CEO who owns the thing is the only one playing. He's probably making the most money. The musician that's on the stage is probably playing the most, and he's getting paid the most.
Do you think playing is the route to money then?
I think playing is the route to embodying a frequency that is abundant. I don't know.
What does that mean for you?
For me, changes all the time, I think, and I think that's the beauty of it. But for me, I think what abundance means is just, I think the ability to be happy. See, it's tricky because I'm trying to answer it without like happy is such a like what is happy anyways. But I think it's really just any time where I've gotten a thrill out of life, I've done the best with what I had where I was at that moment in specific. So I think that is the recipe, is like, if you want the biggest thrill of a life, then you are going to have to try to make the most beautiful thing out of whatever it is you have. And you can't get stuck on, well, if I had this thing, or if I was born at this thing, or, you know, that's kind of I don't know if that.
That's poetry.
Yeah.
I love that.
Okay.
I'd love to talk about the what you're doing. So also, just for context, I'm clipping this. There will be an audio of this, but I'm clipping. This will be clipped into like 10, 15 different sound bites as they are.
All right. Hopefully the ones that do okay.
I'm just gonna plug it into AI and see what it comes up with.
Oh, there you go. See, that's. I mean, look. If we go into that, I think the dynamic of AI will kind of simmer down a little bit, because at the end of the day, like, it's a tool. It can do a lot. It can. It's definitely unfolded elements that I used to struggle with. As far as like, all right, I have an idea. I need to write out 14 slides and like this whole story. I have not experienced an AI where I can actually tell it and then it's going to give me a full product. I've experienced AI where I will tell it something and it'll give me like a pretty ugly version of what I want, if that makes sense. You know, like, even within the formatting, like, I'm a visual person, so even the way that like the words look, not necessarily what they're even saying, but the way that they look affects how I perceive the whole document. So if we go into art forms, that's like talking about decks or like, you know, presentations. But if you go into art forms, like, I don't see a pocket where this artificial it's in the name. It's artificial, right? Like, I don't see a world where that's actually generating natural intelligence or like, you know, the crazy tapestry that is each individual, and that is like all of their life experiences. And I think that's the natural intelligence that comes from what each thing, or like artificial intelligence is trying to compile and make a one size fits all thing, where I think that you'll lose magic in that. And I guess maybe that's the human like brilliance, right? Is like, there's only one alignment of this sort of existence at a time, or maybe there's multiple people that synergize, right? But I don't know, I'm the only me that I know, and you're the only you that you know, like, no, but realistically, it's like, we have such individual experiences that's kind of what makes magic.
Yeah, it's funny. I just shared this with Anders earlier, but like the last month I've had a spiritual experience with AI. I was so overwhelmed by it a month ago, and so in my fear. I'm a creative. Like, there's nothing that can replace this. But in terms of the automating the boring shit that it's been like organizing thoughts and ideas that feel almost like too big for my brain to hold. I can visualize them, I can feel them, And there was a journey that I went on, which was like really accepting and surrendering, like this ain't going anywhere. And as long as I try to stop keeping up with it and just accept that, you know, it is part of me. Technology is part of me. But I think the piece that I think what I see in you is that there is such like a lightness of, again, the play, but also the creativity. And maybe talk about God, the God piece here. Have you heard Age of Aquarius? Does this mean anything to you?
Not too much.
Astrology, whatever. There's like the whole time that this time is all about the marriage of spirit, God, and technology, and that we need the connection in both to evolve into this next whatever phase of life, humanity that we're going into. And it's clear that the technology isn't going anywhere. But I don't know how you see it, but I feel like more and more people are coming to a place of spirituality or a connection to something greater. I don't know if you've had that experience at all.
Within AI as part of overall,
maybe not AI, but just I think people having
technology in general. I personally, like, I don't even know if this is a hot take or like, but I personally feel like we're not the first to experience this technology, even though it may seem that way from like what I truly believe that, like, so when people say like, oh, the technology isn't going anywhere, like, I feel like it does, and it gets extinct and then it comes back in different ways, and it's just like, I don't know, personally, and I want
to hear about this.
And I actually have no sort of any sort of research or proof at all on anything. It's just like an instinct tells me that, like, yeah,
it did go somewhere and then it's back.
Yeah.
I'm into this.
And potentially even more groundbreaking things that we haven't even been able to fathom yet. Yeah. Including, you know, dynamics of like frequencies and water and pressure and like electricity and magnetism.
There's
like, you know, so like, yeah, I don't think like internet. I don't know. I don't think that's the pinnacle, and I don't think that's the thing that's like this. I actually do think AI will go somewhere, and it'll just become another part of a toolkit that's like the internet. Like this happens every few years. Like, to be honest, like faster now, but before it would be like every 10 years, every 15 years. But like, yeah, I don't know.
I like that. I mean, I used to have this like big map called the Great Awakening, which had all like the Tesla thing, the Nicholas Tesla thing, all like the frequency, all the like insane theories, and like there's so many, you know, ancient sites throughout the world have like proven how much more technologically advanced they were than us right now.
Yeah. I mean, just look at the buildings, look at design, look at art. There's no way we're in the most advanced technological, like, expressive expression of humans. I think it's part of it. I don't know.
So the art piece, what was the reason behind Unreleased? What did you see was wrong with music as it is?
I think it's a lot. It's interesting because, like, I think it's a lot less of what's wrong with it, but what could be right with it, potentially. Like, I think that's what makes me excited about the project, is more so just figuring out a dynamic that would work and that would be expansive for artists. But I think every industry is going to have things that are wrong with it, and that's like part of I think that's part of existing, is like yeah, I don't know. I think part of existing is getting to experience these kind of like waves of ideas, and as they like kind of like get accepted by more and more people, they become stronger and louder. So like even AI or like crypto or like any of these things, like they only get stronger by people kind of like riding that wave of information in a certain way. But with art, I think it's a dynamic where like we started, actually I have no idea, but in my perspective, I think art is a way to feel and express and emote what's inside of you. And I think that's actually the closest thing to us being able to align with the things that we desire in our lives. A lot of times, like, I think people will be in situations that, yeah, it's not like ideal, and they have dreams, and they're like, oh, if I was this, or I see myself here, or that. And I think that is, the fuel that each of us individually has, is that dream or that vision or that thing that we're supposed to seek after. And I think that the dynamic of being able to keep that alive gets sacrificed more and more as you abide by the systems of industry. So like what might have started as a pure expression of music becomes commerce and becomes $1 billion industry, and then that becomes something that people that have no sort of pulse on the actual music itself want to participate in now naturally, because their pulse is finance, or their pulse is, and that's totally natural. And that's, I think, part of the wholeness of all of us together as one, you know?
Yeah. You said the other day that you think like in 5 years' time Spotify isn't going to exist.
Yeah, I think the actual business model is something that can't exist. I think the scale is so outweighed towards the platform, and I think that's kind of for us to decide as a whole. And I think that's a tricky position that we're in, where it's like we know that we're more powerful in numbers than apart, right? But then it's like, how do you actually unify artists into believing that they deserve more than they're getting? And I think part of it too is that sometimes artists are trying to get more than they're giving. So it's like, it's all part of natural, like, I don't know. It's maybe a lot of the artists right now are getting into it because they want to get rich fast, or they want to, so they're going to learn the opposite counterbalance of that battery charge, which is like somebody's going to come in and make money fast off of them, or whatever it is, if that makes sense, right? Where, once again, if we go back to the very beginning, you'll find a through line of the ones that truly, truly, truly break through, and they were just immersed in the embodiment of playing that character that they decided that they were going to be. And they kind of like align themselves to that fuel that comes from that, as opposed to aligning themselves to the fuel that comes from, well, what if this doesn't work out? So I think that's a huge split off, and a lot of like most people, it's like eating your vegetables. Like hey, like this probably won't work out is like a sour gummy that's tasty, and then they're like, oh man, I can do this, is like the vegetable. So people will be much quicker and easier to just feel sorry for themselves than to be like, I got this. And maybe that's that dynamic where yeah, like it's kind of sounds dark when I heard it in my head right now, but it's like it's almost like our energy gets like, we feed our energy to the things that are outside of ourselves through that, and that's what leaves us feeling like we're not like, oh, why don't I yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. you might ask, like, that's something that I get a lot, and obviously, like, yeah, I understand it from the sense of like what I feel and how I've experienced my life, but everybody will be like, man, Javi, how do you get so much stuff done? Or like, you know, and I think that dynamic is part of unblocking my own energy, and then unblocking myself, where most of the time most people feel like they need a budget, or they need a this, or they need a that to start, where I'll take a few steps before. So the way that I could explain that is like, naturally, I don't know if it's just how I was built, what my parents taught me, what I learned from soccer, but it was like, I'll have an idea, or my heart will feel something, and then I'll instantly just dive in and do it, and just like play, mess up, have fun. There's a magical dynamic to life where like the first time you do something, you're gonna kind of be really good at it, and it's gonna like kind of like bring you in, you know. And then as you do it more, you're gonna realize that it's like, damn, this is actually hard, or there's this is like a whole universe. Like,
so
man,
how do you stay in the easy starts rather than like getting sucked in by the...
Yeah, I think that is that dynamic. It's like a never ending dynamic of, okay, this is, so my heart's here, right? Start a project, a soccer project that you wish you would have had when you were a kid. Instead of being like, okay, I'm gonna need a fund rate, I'm gonna need this, I'm gonna need a this, right? I'm just like, okay, like,
what do you have with what you have right now?
Yeah, like, how could I just play in that idea? Okay, well, maybe I'll design little artworks, and then it'll be like art that feeds into sport. I don't know, like, that was initial ideas that were just play. So the idea here is it goes from your heart, then you go into the body, you go and you do and you experience, right? And then you go to the mind, right? And there you can analyze, not off of idea, but you analyze off of what you just did. So now you're like, okay, well, I tried it like that and like that. That didn't work, and I tried it like that and that worked. So now you analyze, and through analyzing from play, your heart has another idea, and it shoots you back over here, boom, right? So
most people skip out the doing, they go straight from there.
Well, they just go opposite. So they'll have something, their heart tell them something, then they'll go straight to their mind, and then their mind will tell them like, it won't work because of this, and this, and they don't have any experience to base that off of. So they'll just be like, oh, well, I can't get to here, and then all your energy just gets clogged in this, like,
that's gold,
you know. And then you end up taking a job for something that might not be what this was.
I just saw this image of when you were talking about how you making everything out of what you have in front of you. I just saw this like paint palette where you have a paint palette in front of you, which is all the stuff say we have to survive in this room, everything in this room, we have to make something out of this room, we have like all the things, but you're making the art out of these 4 paints that are on your palette right now. And I feel like you just dissected all the things in my brain, which is like, I'm trying to go and find a different paint palette or a different color than the one that I have right now.
Yeah.
Until I get a new paint palette.
Yeah, just paint with red, and then you're going to be like, that's what red looks like, and that's what red feels like. And by the time you get back, you might have blue 2 months later, and then you're going to get a chance to paint with blue, and then you do that for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you might have a perception of all the colors or how it feels. And then that's like one small little hole of like the overallness. But like, if you want to be a filmmaker, then it might take a whole year, 3 years of painting with different types of lenses, DPs, art, whatever, you know. And then like maybe after 10 years, you might have a perception of the colors that live within filmmaking.
But the idea of 10 years is such a mind-blowing.
Maybe. I mean, in what way? Like, I feel like 10 years.
I feel like 10. Well, I guess this is a different philosophy, because you're getting the returns on living right now, rather than this idea of like, cool, I need to work my ass off for 10 years at something before I get any returns.
Well, I mean, like, see, that's a dynamic. I think another illusion is building from the fruit instead of from the seed. So it's like the seed is going to take 10 years to be a tree. Like, you might have small harvests along the way, but it's not going to be like your apple tree or like whatever, you know. Like, it's so then people are building they know the fruit they want is money. That's like the most common thing that everybody, and they get fixated. They think they need money for everything, right? That's like the biggest illusion. Is like there's something much more broad and potent in life, which is like organized effort, which is like forever undefeated to money. Like if you're a human that understands organized effort, you will have value. You will contribute value to everything that you do. Because
that's my organized effort.
Well, it's like everything needs it. This building needs organized effort. Who's the human that can bring that to this building?
Steve.
You know what I'm saying? And does he have a job? Does he get paid for that? Of course, because he's bringing value by organizing effort. But it's with everything. Think about anything. I mean, the least that I do is like, I first align myself with organized effort before I try to infuse resources into the thing. Because if you can't even create organized effort around an idea, how are you going to put money? You just want to buy the game. That's not how shit works.
So everything needs sweat to get the return on it.
Sweat? Maybe
some sort of like creative
well it could be easy because it could just be talking to 5 people and having a good time and like inspiring all 5 of them, and through that you created organized effort, and then through that came the location, the resources, the talent, whatever it is you're trying to do. Yeah,
I love this.
Yeah,
it's I feel like you've just broken it down so simply, of just do the thing, which I've heard 10,000 times before, but like like you need to. Yeah,
and that's the tricky part. It's like it's really simple, but it's intricate in the variables, because it's like we don't exercise our ability to do whatever we want. Most people will just choose a certain type of identity, and then they'll feel like that's what they're building instead of an experience. That makes sense. So where it's like, I would rather forget everything that I've already done so that I can like live today, like actually experience today. But if I remember and I'm abiding by all of these things that are in my past that hold my ego up, or hold my like what's true or what's right or what's wrong, right? Then I won't experience today.
So you're saying that we get held up by all our successes and achievements?
Well, I mean, that's once again, that's what I'm hinting at, where it's like the secret is really simple, which is like be present. But you've heard that a million times, where it's like, well, the past is what I just said, and then the future is the opposite, where it just fragments you into like different possibilities. But can you just choose one and then be here today in that one? I don't know.
I mean, yeah. I mean, that's I think about the most fulfilling experiences I've had in life. They've always been when I've been so in the present and so unseeking anything else, and then magical experiences and people and all these circumstances have arrived. Yeah.
So that's the simple thing, but the hard part is like, how do you actually quiet the past? Because I mean, it's there's no how to. Every person has to. Once again, like, what has built me to be like, feel like I can do whatever I can do is completely unique to what has made the other person feel like they can't do anything. So it's just like, that's the variable, but that's the internal journey that comes from I think we're supposed to live out our dreams and our visions, and when we don't, we sacrifice like what we're supposed to be doing here. Like, we're not supposed to be here working a job to make money. I guarantee that. I promise that. Like, there's actually no way that's what all of this is built for. You know? We're supposed to be here to feel like what it feels like to bring something to life. Right? That was from within. And the closer you can perceive that it's coming from within, then the closer you can get to being able to intentionally understand what you're experiencing. I don't know.
Yeah, to create. We're all here to be creators.
Yeah, we're here, like, you're here to have an idea, for it to feel uncomfortable as hell, and for you to do it.
The purpose of life. The
Yes.
meaning of
Yes.
life.
Yes.
Right?
And it's going to be difficult, but it'll, whatever you need for it will be provided for sure. And it'll only be provided once, like, you almost are just like, whatever you thought was going to come and save you, you have to sacrifice it and just be like, okay, I got nothing left. Like, the thing that I thought was going to come in and save me, okay, that's not going to work. And then as soon as you give even that up, then that next, like, flow of will come through to whatever it is you're trying to keep alive.
What if people don't know what their creative idea is?
Then they're not listening to themselves. They're not even giving themselves time to ask. I mean, the simplest thing is, like, ask yourself, what is success? Not what the world says is success. Like, what is success to you? And most people don't even get to that.
What is success to you?
To me, man, to me, I think being successful would be evolving into a person that can just be here today, right now, and nowhere else. And I think everything else that I desire will just flow into that world, whatever that is, and that's what I'm attempting to do. And something else that's important is, like, I may be feeling it's happened in different ways, right? Because you'll challenge yourself, you'll have failures, you'll have some breakthroughs, and then you'll have a moment where that idea that you had exists, and you're living in it. And I think when you're living in it, there's a dynamic that's going to come in and offer that to you on a silver platter. And it's going to be like this thing where it's like, okay, you used to want this amount a month, and you used to want this, and then this is how you envisioned being able to create comfort for yourself. But the thing that's in my heart is telling me to double down again on something else. And now is it like, okay, do I go this path where it's like I could easily, like, it's so comfortable, you know what I'm saying? And now I know certain dynamics. I've worked hard enough to have values in certain things so that I can make it so comfortable. But now something else is pushing me to be like, once again, reinvest in my own idea again, and maybe have things feel not comfortable, you know?
Yeah.
And I think that feeling of uncomfort is, once again, the only place where I might find magic or what I want. I don't think I'll find it anywhere else.
Yeah, it's funny, like these like contraction and expansion phases. I feel like that's just all the game. I have these amazing moments of where I feel so connected, where I feel like I'm at the top of the roller coaster, always followed by the contraction. And then when I'm in the contraction, I'm like, oh, when is this going to end? And I feel like like I'm dying inside.
Yeah.
And then I feel like the last couple of weeks have been that. I feel like there's just been a pressure cooker of so many things, of finances and business and all the stuff. And for no tangible reason, but it's lifted. That feeling has lifted. And what I got to witness in the last couple of weeks was just the capacity to hold more pressure.
Yeah.
And in this like new revolution, I'm like, okay, cool. I don't really. Where am I here today?
Yeah. It's desensitize yourself from pressure.
Is that a thing?
Of course.
Interesting.
Yeah. What? Like, I feel like early on, one music video, 2 music videos a month would have, like, I would have been like, oh man, like, this is a heavy load, like, like, not sleeping, not, just because I'm like, and yeah, now it's like I could do one and not even concern myself with anything, and I can just like go through the flow of like the steps, you know. And then you, that's what I'm talking about right now, where it's like, should I just like sit in this space now where this feels really comfortable, or should I just be like, let me try to hit another home run, like let me shoot for the stars again and put my own money, like whatever it takes, because like money's money. But like if some, like, you know, you have conversations and you work towards something and people are like, yeah, this, but then that doesn't mean you're not going to get tested with like, well, like, do you really want it? Like, I don't question for a second that all the people that I've been working with will do their part when it's time. I just know that me personally, there will be more moments where I have to battle through second guessing that it will happen. And that's like that idea of fragmenting myself into like, okay, this is what I'm working towards, this is what I want, right? And then can I just be here right now? The opposite is, my bad, is I'm here right now, but I'm thinking about the 10 possibilities. Like, well, maybe this person will this or that, right?
So you get fragmented.
And that's just where you just, and then like your ability to like choose your outcome is tough. So that's the hardest part, to be in this present moment. Well, that's what messes up our present moment, is we actually make it harder to get what we want because we fragment ourselves thinking of all the possibilities. And then you think of like, well, and then don't even get me started if you start to think in the past, because now you're like, well, that person screwed me over once, and then that, and then that, and then this person told me that money's evil, and then, you know what I'm saying? And like, so then it's like the only breakthrough is if you can like, and then just be present.
No doubt.
Yeah.
Have you heard of this idea called source? The source?
The source?
The source is this, I can't remember who the writer is, but he talks about ideas, like collective ideas. There's always a source. There's like an individual that's given the idea in their heart. So for me, my business is, I am the source of my business idea. You are the source of all your creative ideas. And it talks about this idea that, you know, as the source, as like the visionary, as the vision holder, that's essentially what it is. It's the vision holder. And then you get to, you know, field off, bat away, yes, no. But the source holder is, they're the ones that are also given the most doubt for that dream. And I feel, I don't know about you, but I feel like as a creative with the businesses and art, like there is so much doubt that have come with both of those. And I feel like, does everyone else have this level of insane doubt of just like, who the fuck, what the fuck, how, you know? Yeah. I don't know if you've experienced.
I mean, yeah, but I think it's like, once again, like thoughts are different than emoting them. So like you could think this might not work out or whatever, but are you putting your emotions into that thought? And I think that's the difference. I know people that do put their emotions into those thoughts and they have a harder time. And I know people that, or I don't know, at least myself, like I'm becoming and trying to become more aware of when those happen, to be able to be like, oh wow, I just did that to myself. Instead of being like that thing that you're thinking. And then because if you become that thing that you're thinking, then you put your emotions into it. And when you put your emotions into it and you feel it, that's like that's where it gets like magnetic.
It's funny, I have this theory, and it's not necessarily a theory, as I've kind of watched it unfold, is it's the people who are building from this sense of connected to themselves. They have the degree of awareness that you're kind of talking about, of self, body, mind, soul, the whole thing. Those are the businesses that are of, like, the old world is crumbling right now. Industries are collapsing. Everything is so unknown. Things are changing at the speed of light. And what I see unfolding, and this is why, well, there's many reasons that I'd get behind you in a heartbeat. But one of those, the values that I see is like, it's not just the money. Whereas I feel like the old world was just money, power, control. I see the businesses of today, tomorrow, really being the ones that are led by people who are building for something, building with a different set of values, you know. So whether it's unreleased or whether it's another project, it's so inspiring, you know, to be around people who are building that way. So thank you on that front.
No, for sure. I mean, I think it's it'll I don't know. I think it's a natural occurrence when people start to observe that things don't serve them, and then there's gradual change from there. But I think the world we live in feels crazy. Just like once again, I have no sort of backing to this, but like, I also feel like just how this isn't the craziest technology ever, I don't think this is the craziest tumultuous time ever either. Like, I just feel like, once again, how much are you attaching yourself to the outside versus the inside? Because I think the outside has always been there to serve its purpose of what this human experience is. I think there's plenty of humans in the world that are living their own form of peace and love and prosperity and abundance amongst the madness. So I think that's the dynamic, is while you're here, you're supposed to be able to challenge yourself until you can quiet down enough of the outside to be able to do something like you're talking about, where you bring something from, I guess maybe in my perspective, actual source instead of like you know, where it's like you're actually being able to tap into a much broader form of awareness of what's out there than just like, what do I need to survive today? Right? And I think that's that dynamic of like building something that is, but I think people like this have always been around, and I think like the old world has always been crumbling, and there's always been like humans that are awakening and like fighting what's existing on the outside world that's here to challenge us. I don't see it so like doom and gloomy, you know what I'm saying? I just think it's actually here to, like, for us. I don't know.
Well, I mean, like, the way that I talk about unreleased to people is, when I got that message from that chick about the AI, my response to her, it was like, yeah, and this is why I'm so stoked about people who are building new kind of platforms. And then I sent her unreleased. I look, like, once again, I think the only magic in unreleased will be if we can use our imagination in a way that reinvents an experience of our art. But once again, I don't think it's like, I think the tool and the technology and like the way that everything's connected and the way you could serve your fans is something beautiful that hasn't necessarily existed. The way you could actually own your audience if you're smart enough, I think that's cutting edge in certain ways, you know. But will it be a thing that gets facilitated and provided to everybody? The more I understand energy and dynamics, the more I think like that's not for me to like solve at all, you know. I think it's like I can only provide an expression of how I would do it, and then if people can participate, that's like beyond me, you know. And then I also don't think it's like there is like, once again, a savior, because I think like that is that dynamic where like we all will choose the thing that's supposed to save us, and then like that thing will crumble in a certain way for you to have that next breakthrough, for you to understand like you're relentless and you're resilient and you can do all these different things, right? So I don't know, I'd almost be just glorifying unreleased. Trust me, like what we're doing is cool, and glorify the hell out of it.
Yeah, no, it's I think the most beautiful part will be building something raw and authentic with the dopest musicians and artists in the world. And I think that in itself is like crazy North Star, right? Like imagine that, you know. And then where within that ecosystem the artists that participate are being able to capture their own value, that's dope, you know?
Yeah, I mean, I said this on the I shared this yesterday, like in the midst of this AI conversation, that the day that I recorded with you with Levi and Topanga, the experience of playing with him, and also there was just something magical about having you and Dali there that day.
Yeah.
It was almost like playing with him, but also performing and being witnessed by you guys. Nothing is as magnetic as that feeling. It's that, and as to your point, it's that idea of like pulling something inside and bringing it out into the world, that expressive feeling. Like no tech can replace that.
Well, yeah, experience.
Yeah.
That's the dynamic that's being tried to, like, that's the perception that's being played with right now. And it's like, how many people are willing to give up their right to experience their own life for ease? Like, think of, like, this thing right here makes things easy, but how many times do you give up the experience of the thing? Like, you could order food, but there's an experience to going to the restaurant, maybe talking to the person, and maybe you meet somebody, whatever, right? Like, how many places are you willing to give up your ability to experience that thing? And I think art is one of the dopest things to experience as just like a thing to do with your time on earth. So like, I think people will fight for that experience for as long as we exist, I think, and we'll do it in different ways how we've always done it. And yeah.
Mic drop. That was great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah, of course.
It's good bits in that.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Anything that you want to get on camera about and release as like a little promo piece?
Man, I'm such a bad promoter, to be honest. But yeah, I think for Unreleased, I would love to connect with any artists and musicians that, or even just people that love art, that want to facilitate a different.
What's it about? What is the concept of Unreleased?
Yeah, Unreleased is just a modern. Unreleased is a new way to experience how to listen, own, share art. And the idea of it is to empower the actual artist with the technology so that they start to own their own audience. But at the core, it's just a new way for a fan to own, share, and listen to their own art or their favorite art. And for a musician, it's a new approach on how you present the value that you are creating with art, right? So, yeah.
Love it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right. Good shit.
That's it?
Yeah.
Okay.
There's some great bits in there.
I hope so.
Clipped.
Yeah, I hope so.
Some mic drops.
Yep. Shout out Holly.
What's up?
Yep.
Thank you, friend.
Of course.
You gotta get your thing. I feel like we're in a room here and nothing exists in the outside world right now. I'm so present to.
Yeah, I don't think so. That's the whole point of the conversation.
Yeah, it is.
Stay present.
I love what you said. I just love the idea around like taking the idea from the heart, just doing. And I guess I do that anyway, but just having that reaffirmed, like that is the process. Yeah,
and then use your mind to digest what you've done, not what you think, I guess, is the biggest dynamic there, because you can't really analyze
the future.
Not even the future, but just like ideas. You can analyze experience, and I think that's the like main thing. Wait until you experience, till you analyze it, and then when you analyze your experience, it should ignite instantly just some form of inspiration for your next step. Or
I'm gonna do that. Analyze your experience. That's the only thing you can analyze.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, because I see that a lot. Like, you don't need extra data on something no one's ever done that you want to do. Hell, why do you need data on something no one's ever done? And even if somebody has done it, then maybe that's a sign to be like, okay, well, like, why is this me? And then maybe there's breakthroughs through that, but I don't know.
I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Thanks,
Thank you.
Thank you. Gonna be on the internet. Do you know which button to press?
I do. Oh, you've never done it? You just hit stop. Hit it.
That one?